Welcome back again. Tragically, hundreds of people are killed on Maryland roads each year as a result of drunk driving. These deaths are preventable. In an effort to help save lives, our sister agency, MVA, has developed a computer app to help those who drink make better decisions. It's called ENDUI app, and MVA Communications Manager Tim Richards joins us with more on how it's used. Tim, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We gave out those statistics earlier. This sounds like an important initiative for the MVA. Tell us about it.
Well, each year, about a third of our traffic fatalities across the state are caused by impaired driving. And so our main mission at MDOT and at the MVA's Highway Safety Office is to prevent impaired driving. Mm-hmm. One of the ways that we go about doing that is to make sure that people are actively planning ahead. So in looking at the demographic, the people that we're really targeting, they are very heavily reliant on their smartphones. And this was a way to kind of combine the need to get them to plan ahead with the technology that they had.
And the technology puts an app on their phones, and this app helps them do exactly what?
Well, correct. They can go to the iTunes Store or to Google Play, and they can actually put that app directly on their cell phone.
And that app is ENDUI.
Right, ENDUI.
Okay.
And what they can do with that app, the main features on there, and there are a number, they can actually dial into your location. So you can press a button to call a taxi, and this app will actually use your location, and it will provide a list of cab companies that are nearby, and then you can instantly call them. It actually can use your phone's contacts, and you can pre-program a list. So for instance, if I was going out and you were going to be my ride home, I would put you into this list. I would call you at the end of the night, or it would allow me to text you and say that I need a safe ride home. It has a blood alcohol content guide. One of the things that we find is that people really don't understand. They may not feel like they're impaired or they're drunk, but you can be very easily over the legal limit, still feel like you're okay to drive. And this feature, while it's not a substitute for a police test, it really does show you that even after a couple drinks, you could very well be over the legal limit.
So you put in this app what you've had to drink, and it'll give you some type of, I guess, estimated reading.
Well, yeah, and you know, I want to be a little careful because it's
yes,
not.
Of course, indeed.
It's definitely not a substitute for the police test because there are a lot of things that go in. But yes, it does give you kind of an indicator, and we always stress, you know, make a plan before you go out and stick to it. And that's really what we want people to do.
It's important. It's already in place. What's been the response from the public?
The response has been great. It got launched at an event called Maryland Remembers, where we actually, it's a memorial event for victims of impaired driving, and that was just this past December. Since that point, we've had about somewhere between 40 and 50,000 downloads. Between the iTunes Store and the Google Play Store.
And is that 40 to 50,000 locally, or is that worldwide? Or
the majority were from here. It actually got a widespread attention, and so we had some people that picked it up. People were writing about it in Houston, and some people had been writing about it because it hit the AP wire. So. And
was it developed by our MVA here in Maryland?
We actually used the architecture of an app called ENDUI. It's just a difference in the way that the states recognize a driving under the influence offense. Ours is a DUI. We borrowed the architecture from New Mexico. So we actually took that architecture and added some features to it, like public transportation options, such as transit, light rail, bus.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because again, that's an option. If persons know they're going to be out and they may be planning to drink, they can use transit as the designated driver.
Right, and so we actually added another feature, which Maryland has a reported drunk driver feature through their 911 system. And we added that. We incorporated some educational elements, and we're going to be continuing to update this app through input from user groups and try to keep this thing really relevant and really on people's minds.
Sounds great. Just really quickly, how do I get to it? What's the URL or the
Well,
address?
it's if you go to iTunes or to Google Play, it's and you would do a search on ENDUI.
ENDUI.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ENDUI. It's an
Correct.
important program.
And that would actually allow you to download it onto a Droid or to an iPhone. And then if you go to www.towardzerodeathsmd.com, that's our Toward Zero Deaths website, and our state is clearly trying to move towards zero traffic fatalities.
Sounds great. Thanks for
So,
stopping by.
thank you very much.
In our effort to introduce you to the people behind the scenes at MTA who help keep transit moving, we feature an important member of our IT group who is not only dedicated to our transit mission, but she's also an active and dedicated citizen in the community.
Susan Shaw Blake is a dedicated employee of the MTA.
I'm Susan Shaw Blake, and I'm Chief of Client Services for the MTA. I manage and I create our IT budget. I review and approve and procure all of the employees' IT hardware and software requests. One of the biggest challenges in our position is IT needs keep on growing and the staff doesn't. More things to order, more complex, and no help.
When she's not working at the office, Susan volunteers for Mothers Against Drunk Driving after a sudden tragedy changed her life forever.
I lost my father 22 years ago to a drunk driver. He was just driving in from work, and full-size pickup truck crossed the center line, hit my father. They had, luckily, some people on the scene right away, and flew him to shock trauma. He was there for 6 days before he passed. After the first year, we attended med support groups. They reached out to us, and they were very helpful because you heard other people's stories. And then later, I started going to the victim impact panels, court-ordered offenders, had to listen to the stories of people that were injured or had a family member killed. At the last Maryland Remembers this December, they introduced an app called ENDUI that they purchased and had customized. I have it on my phone. Once I heard about it, I put it on right away. When I tested it with Baltimore, it brought up the MTA's website. Unfortunately, when I speak at MAD each month, we have surveys that are filled out, and it will say, are you a first, second, or third offender? I've had people that wrote down they're an 8-time offender. Don't put yourself in a circumstance where you have to worry about being pulled over. It's like, just don't drink and drive. Plan ahead, get a designated driver, plan on getting dropped off somewhere and getting a cab home, take transportation.
Although Susan and her family have suffered a great loss, she has hope for a brighter future.
I think my father would be very proud that, like my son right now, he's in Baltimore County Police Academy, doing his part to try to make the world a safer place. My daughter is actually an education major, so she'll be a teacher. There are at least one other granddaughter who's studying psychology, so probably taken after her grandfather.
Up next, a look at what's new at the Maryland Science Center. Stay with us.